I zipped my boss's wedding dress with steady hands and a breaking heart. When the last button closed at the top of that ivory gown, I leaned close to her ear and whispered the 4 words that would destroy everything she had spent 14 months building. Your husband is not coming. My name is Cole Merritt. I am a personal assistant in Atlanta, Georgia. For 5 years, I have worked for Sloan Whitfield, the CEO of one of the most powerful firms in the city. I manage her calendar, book her flights, press her suits, and handle problems before they reach her desk. I stand 3 steps behind her in every room. I know which coffee she drinks on Monday mornings and which one she switches to before big board meetings. I know the tone her voice takes when she is tired but refuses to show it. I know the weight she carries and the way she hides it. What I have never told her is that I have been in love with her for 3 years. The bridal suite at the Whitmore Hotel smelled like gardenias and hairspray. The Atlanta skyline stretched wide through the tall windows, shining bright and sharp like the life Sloan had built from nothing. The room was filled with ivory peonies, white roses, and soft music playing from a speaker in the corner. It looked like a dream. But I knew it was already over. She stood in front of the mirror, bouquet trembling slightly in her hands. Her reflection looked perfect, calm, polished, unshaken. But I had watched her long enough to see what others missed. Her breathing was too slow, too controlled, the way someone breathes when they are trying not to fall apart. After I whispered the truth, she did not gasp, she did not cry, she did not turn around right away. She simply stared at herself in the mirror. The only thing that changed was her breathing. It slowed down even more. Then she set the bouquet on the vanity table. The flowers shook gently as she let go. She turned to face me. Cole, she said softly, how long have you known? Her voice was quiet, but it was steady, not angry, not shocked, steady. I found the marriage certificate 3 days ago, I said, in the public records office. Donovan married someone else 14 months ago, in Asheville, North Carolina, the same month he proposed to you. Saying it out loud felt like stepping off a ledge. She studied my face carefully, like she was reading numbers on a balance sheet. I know, she said. The words hit me harder than anything else that morning. You know? I found it 6 weeks ago, she replied. The room felt smaller. She walked to the small couch near the window and sat down carefully, smoothing the front of her dress. The diamond on her finger caught the sunlight and threw pieces of light across the ceiling. I needed proof, she said. Not just of the marriage, of everything. The accounts he was asking to merge, the insurance policies, the legal access he would gain after today. I stared at her, trying to understand. You kept planning the wedding. Yes. You let everyone believe it was real. It was real to me once, she said quietly. But once I knew the truth, it became something else. Quote, her voice did not shake, it never did, but there was something deeper under it now, something wounded. I canceled the ceremony 48 hours ago, she continued. My attorney served him with fraud papers this morning. He should be with detectives right now. As if the universe wanted to test that statement, 3 sharp knocks hit the door. Sloan's body went still. Open the door, she said calmly. I hesitated for half a second, then crossed the room and turned the handle. Donovan Chase stood there in a navy suit, jaw tight, eyes sharp and calculating. He looked polished, confident, like a man who believed he could talk his way out of anything. Baby, he started, stepping inside. Whatever you think you found, I can explain. Rebecca Howell, Sloan said evenly. He froze. Asheville, Tuesday afternoon. Heavy rain. The color drained from his face. 2 plainclothes officers stepped forward behind him, badges raised. Sloan's attorney stood just beyond them, watching quietly. Donovan looked from the badges to Sloan, then to me. For the first time since I had known him, he had no words. They led him away without a scene. When the door closed, the suite fell silent again. The flowers still smelled sweet. The city still shimmered outside the windows. But something had shifted. Sloan stood in the center of the room in her wedding dress, alone. I stepped closer, not behind her this time, but beside her. You knew for 6 weeks, I said softly. Why didn't you tell me? She turned to look at me. Because I needed to see what you would do. My heart pounded. I saw you at the records office 3 weeks ago, she continued. My friend works there. She called me when she saw you pulling Donovan's files. You were checking everything, quietly, without telling me. I swallowed. I was protecting you, I said. I know. She stepped closer. Did you wait to tell me because you wanted to protect me? She asked. Or because some part of you didn't want me to marry him? The question hung between us. For 5 years, I had hidden every feeling. I had built walls made of professionalism and silence. I had convinced myself that loving her quietly was enough. But standing there in that room with the truth already tearing everything apart, I realized silence was no longer protection. It was fear. Both, I said. The word felt heavy and freeing at the same time. I wanted to protect you, and yes, I didn't want you to marry him, not because of the job. Not because I was jealous of the life he would have with you. I took a breath, because I love you. The room seemed to stop breathing with us. Her green eyes held mine without flinching. How long? She asked. 3 years. She let out a slow breath. I thought so. That surprised me. You thought so? I notice the way you look at me when you think I am not paying attention, she said. I notice the way you step in front of problems before they reach me. I notice the way you say my name differently when no one else is around. She stepped even closer, close enough that I could see the faint shimmer of tears in her eyes, even though they did not fall. I did not ask you to zip this dress just because I needed help, she said. I wanted to see if you would tell me the truth when it mattered most. And if I hadn't, I asked, then I would have known I was alone. The words broke something open in me. You are not alone, I said. For the first time in 5 years, I reached for her without thinking about consequences. She did not pull away. Instead, she slipped her hand into mine. Not like a boss, not like someone thanking an employee, like a woman choosing something real. What do we do now? She asked softly. I looked at her, really looked at her. Not at the CEO, not at the powerful woman who commanded boardrooms, just at Sloan. We start over, I said. From the truth. The sunlight poured through the windows and wrapped around us. The wedding flowers filled the air with a scent that would forever remind me of the moment I stopped standing 3 steps behind her. Our story did not begin with a perfect ceremony. It began with a zipper, a whisper, and the courage to finally say what had been waiting between us for years. I thought everything would feel lighter after I told her I loved her. It did not. It felt heavier. Real. Like the ground beneath us had shifted and we were both standing on something new without knowing how strong it was. Sloan did not let go of my hand right away. She looked down at our fingers, almost like she was studying the moment, memorizing it. Then she lifted her eyes back to mine. You understand, she said quietly, that if we step into this, nothing goes back to the way it was. I don't want it to, I answered. That was the truth. I had spent 5 years being careful. Careful with my words. Careful with my eyes. Careful with the way I stood near her. I had built my life around staying in control. But love does not respect control. A soft knock came at the door again. This time it was Margaret, her attorney. They've taken him, Margaret said gently. He won't be coming back here. Sloan nodded once, calm, collected, the same way she handled billion-dollar negotiations. But I could feel the tension still sitting under her skin. Thank you, Margaret, she said. Please tell the guests the ceremony has been permanently canceled. Offer refunds for travel. Send flowers to my mother with a note that I'll call her in an hour. Margaret gave her a long look, not as an attorney, as a friend. Are you all right? Yes, Sloan replied. It was the kind of yes that meant no. When the door closed again, silence returned. The music had stopped. The city outside kept moving like nothing had happened. Cars crawled along Peachtree Street. People walked with coffee cups in their hands. Somewhere in the distance, life was going on. Inside that suite, everything had changed. I should change, she said finally, glancing down at the dress. You don't have to rush, I replied. She gave a small smile. I don't want this dress to be the last thing I remember from today. She walked toward the mirror again. I stayed where I was this time, giving her space. Help me unzip it, she said softly. For a second, I froze. Not because I didn't want to, but because this felt different now. No longer assistant and boss. No longer safe and hidden. I stepped behind her again. My fingers found the tiny buttons at the top of her back. Slowly, carefully, I began to undo them, one by one. The room was quiet, except for the soft sound of fabric shifting. "You were going to tell me," she said. "Yes." "When?" "Before you walked down the aisle." She met my eyes in the mirror. That would have destroyed me. "I know." "Why wait until the last second?" "Because I was afraid," I admitted. "Afraid you would think I was using it as an excuse. Afraid you would fire me. Afraid you would hate me." "And now?" "Now I'm still afraid," I said honestly. "But I'm more afraid of losing you." Her shoulders softened. When the zipper reached the middle of her back, she turned slowly to face me. The front of the gown still held, but the back had loosened. The moment felt fragile. "Cole," she said, "my name barely more than a breath. If this happens between us, it cannot be hidden. I don't want to hide. You work for me. I know. The board will talk. They already talk." Her lips curved slightly. "You could lose your job." "I would rather lose the job than lose the chance." That was the clearest thing I had ever said. She studied me carefully, not looking for weakness, looking for truth. "I built my life on strength," she said quietly. "I built it on never needing anyone." "You don't need me," I replied. "You choose me." Something changed in her eyes at that. She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the warmth of her skin. Close enough that the world outside those windows disappeared. "You are not 3 steps behind me anymore," she said. "I don't want to be." She reached up and touched my face, just lightly, like she was testing whether this was real. For years I had imagined this moment. 1,000 versions of it. In none of them did I feel this steady. "I need one thing from you," she said. "Anything. Do not love me because I am powerful." I shook my head. "I love you because you are human, because you cry in parking garages when no one sees. Because you drink cheap coffee when you're stressed, even though you can afford anything. Because you stayed strong for your mother when she was sick. Because you wear armor every day and still show up." Her eyes filled this time. "And if this fails?" she asked. "Then it fails honestly," I said, not in silence. The rest of the dress slipped lower and she held it against herself with one hand. She did not look embarrassed. She looked free. There was another knock at the door, softer this time. "Sloan?" It was her mother's voice. Sloan closed her eyes briefly. "Stay," she whispered to me. She opened the door, holding the gown carefully in place. Her mother stood there, eyes already red from crying. "Oh, sweetheart." Her mother breathed. Sloan stepped into her arms without hesitation. "It's done," Sloan said softly. "I'm okay." Her mother looked past her and saw me standing there. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she nodded once. "Good," she said, not angry, not shocked. "Good." After her mother left to help with guests, Sloan turned back to me. "This will be messy," she said. "Public, complicated." "I know." "You may regret it." "I won't." Quote, "You say that now." "I've loved you quietly for 3 years," I replied. "The only thing I regret is not telling you sooner." She stepped back into the room and closed the door. Outside, the skyline glowed in the afternoon sun. Inside, the flowers still filled the air. The wedding that was never going to happen had turned into something else entirely. She walked toward me again. "No more 3 steps behind," she said. "No more." I agreed. And this time, when she leaned forward, it was not cautious, it was certain. Her lips met mine softly at first. Not rushed, not desperate, just real. The kiss felt like truth. Not a stolen moment. Not a mistake. A beginning. When she pulled back, she rested her forehead against mine. "From right here," she whispered. From right here, I repeated. The day that was meant to end her in heartbreak had become the day we stopped hiding. But neither of us knew yet that the real challenge was not Donovan. It was what would happen when the world found out. The world found out faster than either of us expected. By the time we left the bridal suite, the lobby of the Whitmore Hotel felt different. Guests were whispering in corners, phones were out. Faces that had arrived smiling now carried confusion and quiet shock. Word travels fast in Atlanta when money and power are involved. Sloan walked beside me, not ahead of me. That alone was enough to start rumors. She had changed into a simple cream dress, elegant, but not bridal. The diamond ring was gone. Her posture was straight, her chin lifted. If someone did not know better, they would think she had just closed a successful deal. But I knew the truth. I could still feel the slight tremor in her hand when our fingers brushed. Margaret met us near the elevator. Press is already asking questions, she said. Donovan's arrest will hit by evening. Sloan nodded calmly. Prepare a statement. Short, direct, no details. And the board? Margaret asked carefully. I'll call an emergency meeting tonight. Margaret's eyes flicked to me for half a second. Not judgment, assessment. Sloan noticed. He stays, she said firmly. Margaret gave a small nod and stepped aside. When the elevator doors closed, it was just us again. This is the part that tests everything, Sloan said quietly. I'm not going anywhere, I replied. She looked at me, studying my face the way she did when she was deciding whether to invest millions into something uncertain. This will not be quiet, she warned. They will question your intentions. They will question mine. They already are, I said. The elevator opened to the underground garage. Cameras flashed near the entrance. Reporters had already gathered outside the hotel doors. We take the back exit, I said automatically. She smiled faintly, always thinking ahead. It's my job. She touched my arm. It's more than that. We slipped into her black sedan and pulled out through the service gate. As the hotel disappeared in the rearview mirror, silence settled inside the car. For a few blocks, neither of us spoke. Then her phone buzzed. Board member, investor, media contact. Another board member. She silenced it and stared out the window at the Atlanta skyline. I built this company from a single rented office, she said softly. Every brick of it matters to me. I know. If they believe this relationship compromises leadership, it doesn't, I interrupted gently. They may not see it that way. I pulled into a quiet parking lot overlooking Piedmont Park. The city stretched out before us, bright and busy and unaware of how personal this moment felt. Sloan, I said, turning to face her fully. I will resign if that protects you. Her head snapped toward me. No, if it keeps your company stable. Stop, she said firmly. The CEO voice was back for a second. Sharp, commanding. Then it softened. I will not let you sacrifice yourself because of me. I'm not sacrificing, I replied. I'm choosing. She studied me carefully. For 5 years, she said slowly, you have put my needs before your own. That's the job. No, she corrected. That's you. She leaned back in her seat, thinking. If we do this, she continued, we do it openly. No secrets, no hiding in corners. No pretending this is accidental. Quote, I don't want accidental, I said. Her phone buzzed again. This time she answered, yes, she said calmly. It's true, the ceremony was canceled. Legal reasons. A formal statement will be released tonight. No, there is no instability in the company. Yes, I am in full control. She ended the call. They're nervous, she said. They'll settle. Only if I show strength. You always do. She looked at me again, and this time there was something softer in her eyes. I don't want to show strength, she admitted quietly. I want to feel safe. The word surprised me. You are safe, I said. With you? She asked. Yes. She reached across the console and took my hand. Not for appearance, not for drama, for comfort. We stayed there for a few minutes, the city humming around us. Then her phone buzzed again. This time it was a text message. Her jaw tightened slightly as she read it. "What is it?" I asked. "Donovan posted bail." The air shifted. "That was fast," I said. "He has money," she replied evenly, "and connections." Quote, as if summoned by the tension, my own phone lit up. Unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. Sloan watched me carefully. "Answer it," she said. I did. "Cool merit," I said. There was a pause. Then Donovan's voice came through the line, smooth and controlled. "You think you won?" he said quietly. I kept my tone calm. "You should not be calling. You inserted yourself into something you don't understand." "I understand fraud." He laughed softly. "You really believe she chose you?" I glanced at Sloan. She was watching my face closely. "Yes," I said simply. A beat of silence. "She will regret it," he continued, "when the board turns, when investors question her judgment, when you become a liability." The words were meant to plant doubt. They did not. "She's not alone anymore," I said. He exhaled sharply. "You were invisible for years. Don't get comfortable." The line went dead. I lowered the phone slowly. "He threatened you?" Sloan asked. "He tried." Her eyes darkened slightly. "He underestimates loyalty," she said. "He underestimates you." She held my gaze. "This will get uglier before it gets clean." "I know. And if he targets you directly?" "I can handle it." She studied me again, measuring my resolve. "You deserve more than chaos," she said quietly. "I deserve truth," I replied, "and I have it now." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she leaned across the console and kissed me again. This one was different, stronger, certain. When she pulled back, her expression had changed. "The board meets in 2 hours," she said. "You're coming." "As what?" I asked. She did not hesitate. "As the man I trust." My heart pounded. That meant stepping into the light, into judgment, into questions about power and ethics and loyalty. It meant no more hiding. "Okay," I said. She started the engine again and pulled out of the parking lot. As we drove back toward downtown Atlanta, I realized something. Donovan was not done. Men like him do not disappear quietly when control slips from their hands. And the next move he made would not be about money. It would be about revenge. By the time we reached the Whitfield corporate tower, the sun had dipped low enough to turn the glass walls gold. The building stood tall over downtown Atlanta, sharp and powerful, just like the woman who built it. Inside the executive conference room, the board was already seated. 10 people, most of them older, all of them cautious. When Sloan walked in, every conversation stopped. I followed half a step behind her out of habit. She noticed. She slowed slightly until we were side by side. That small movement did not go unnoticed. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," Sloan began, her voice steady and clear. "The ceremony scheduled for today has been canceled due to legal findings concerning Mr. Donovan Chase. A formal fraud investigation is underway." Murmurs spread around the table. One of the senior board members, Thomas Hale, leaned forward. "And the rumors regarding your assistant?" he asked carefully. There it was. Sloan did not glance at me for permission. "Yes," she said plainly. "Cole and I are in a relationship." Silence filled the room. Another board member cleared her throat. "Given the timing, that raises questions." "It should," Sloan replied calmly. "That is why I am addressing it directly." Her posture was straight, controlled, but I could feel the tension beside me. "Our relationship did not influence company decisions," she continued. "In fact, Cole was instrumental in uncovering the fraud attempt that would have harmed this company significantly." Thomas folded his hands. "And now?" "Now," she said, "we handle this transparently. If necessary, we restructure reporting lines. If required, Cole steps into a separate operational role outside direct supervision." Every eye turned toward me. "Are you prepared for that?" Thomas asked. "Yes," I answered without hesitation. My voice did not shake. I did not uncover the fraud for position or influence. I did it because it was right. A few of them exchanged looks. Sloan spoke again. "You have trusted my leadership for 8 years. That leadership remains unchanged. What has changed is that I will not allow personal manipulation to infiltrate this company again." The room settled slowly. After 30 tense minutes of discussion, policies were reviewed, options debated, risks measured. In the end, the vote was unanimous. The company would stand behind her. We stepped out of the boardroom together. The hallway felt quieter than before. "You were solid in there," she said softly. "So were you." She exhaled deeply. That was the easy part. I looked at her. "There's more." She nodded slightly. As if summoned, her phone buzzed. Margaret's name flashed across the screen. Sloan answered. "Yes?" Her expression changed as she listened. "Send it to me," she said calmly. She ended the call and handed me her phone. It was a video. Security footage. Donovan standing outside the bridal suite hours earlier, speaking with someone in hotel staff uniform. An envelope changed hands. "What is this?" I asked. "He tried to plant something in the room," she said evenly. "Margaret believes it was meant to create a scandal, possibly something to damage my public image." My stomach tightened. "He's escalating." "Yes." Another message came through, this time from an unknown email address. The subject line read, "Final warning." Sloan opened it without hesitation. Inside was a single sentence. "You think you can destroy me and walk away clean." Underneath it was a blurred photo of us in the parking lot earlier that day, holding hands. I felt a cold wave move through me. "He's watching," I said. "He's desperate," she corrected. But I could see the anger in her eyes now. Not fear, controlled anger. "He believes exposure will break us," I said quietly. "He believes power comes from intimidation," she replied. Her phone rang again. This time it was a reporter. Sloan declined the call. She turned to me slowly. "If this becomes public tonight, you will be dragged into every headline." "I know. They will call you opportunistic. They can. They will question your motives. They already are." She stepped closer. "This is your last chance to step away before it explodes." I did not hesitate. "I'm not stepping away." Her eyes searched my face, looking for doubt. There was none. "I have spent 3 years loving you quietly," I said. "I'm not running the first day. It becomes difficult." Her expression softened. "You make it very hard to regret this," she whispered. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Margaret. "He's been taken back into custody," Sloan said after listening for a moment. "Attempted evidence tampering." I felt the tension in my chest loosen slightly. "This won't be over immediately," she continued, "but it's contained." We stood there in the hallway, city lights glowing through the windows behind us. The day had started with a wedding. It was ending with arrests, board votes, and headlines waiting to break. But in the middle of the chaos, something steady had formed between us. "What happens tomorrow?" I asked. "Tomorrow," she said thoughtfully, "we show up, together. No hiding, no 3 steps behind, together." That night, as predicted, the story broke. Fraud charges, canceled wedding. Powerful CEO exposed to betrayal. And at the bottom of several articles, one quiet line. "Sources confirm Whitfield has begun a relationship with longtime assistant Cole Merritt. My phone did not stop ringing." Messages. Unknown numbers. Social media notifications. I ignored all of it. Instead, I stood in her apartment overlooking the city. She had changed into comfortable clothes. No armor. No boardroom mask. Just Sloan. "You can still walk out that door," she said gently. I walked toward her instead. "I'm exactly where I want to be." She studied me one last time, as if giving me the final opportunity to change my mind. Then she reached for me. This kiss was not soft like the first. It was certain. Chosen. When she pulled back, her forehead rested against mine. "We don't build this on secrecy," she said. "We build it on truth." "Then promise me something," she whispered. "Anything. If this ever stops being real, you tell me, immediately. No silence. No hiding." "I promise." She nodded once. Outside, Atlanta glowed under the night sky. Inside, the woman who had spent her life protecting everything she built allowed herself to lean into someone for the first time. Our story did not begin with perfect timing. It began with risk, with truth, with the decision to step out from behind and stand beside. And for the first time in 5 years, I was no longer invisible. I was chosen.